Welcome to Bloody Good Horror.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another quarantined episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing We Summon the Darkness. This is a horror comedy, question mark? We'll talk about that later, but first up, joining me tonight from Hotlanta, Georgia. Guys, the city's open. Everything's fine. Please welcome Cece to the show.
The world is all right again.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah.
That was just a blip. We're good.
Totally fine.
Next up on the show from Indiana, please welcome Casey.
Hello.
From Chicago, Illinois, please welcome Joe.
What's up, motherfuckers?
And formerly of New York City before he fled in the middle of the night, just shameful. Please welcome.
Shameful.
Please welcome John to the show.
Hi, Eric.
Like a Bernie supporter leaving the Democratic Party.
Actually, John, I think I've been on record several times when I have saying that at the first sign of trouble, my ass would be out of New York City. So, don't worry about it.
I mean, we've been through a lot, Eric, but this one,
John, can I get a status update on the clear beard hair there?
it's quite long. Long and full. May not be visible on camera. I'm not going to worry about it
It's
anymore.
braided. You can't see it.
Yeah.
But...
Could we maybe buy you like a little macro lens for your iPhone, so maybe we can get some some crystalline photography so we can see?
No, we could do
I
that.
don't
Sounds
want
good.
that.
No, I
It's
do.
a good investment. Yeah.
You guys are way underthinking this. We got money. We're BGH. We could afford this. Send him a box of Just for Men.
There you go.
Yeah, we don't have money,
Color it in.
and John. It's not my fault. John has clear hair. He can buy his own Just for Men. Or Joe can lend him whatever it was. He dyed his hair black for Instagram the other day.
What did you use?
We, like everybody else, we have, we were just cleaning, and we were emptying a closet and found like an old spray can of like Halloween hair paint that Mia used a couple of years ago.
Gotcha.
And,
I was like, it washed out really well. I'm impressed.
Oh yeah, I was actually nervous. Like I took a shower like 15 minutes later, and I'm like, this is gonna be awful if like my hair is just like gray for the next month or so. Yeah. No. Back to beautiful.
So tonight, We Summon the Darkness, starring quote-unquote teenager Alexandra Daddario. Alexandra, is that her name?
Yes.
Literally,
I went with Alex just to be safe, but it's Alexandra, I believe.
man. Yep.
Well, I don't think she was supposed to be 35.
No.
Yeah,
Listen,
they're definitely meant to be young.
she looks.
I mean, they were planning on going to a bar at one point. Like I don't
Yeah.
think they were supposed to be like high school.
I was
kids.
gonna guess
It was
college.
88, though.
College.
Yeah, couldn't you kind of do whatever you wanted back then?
By
That's
88,
true.
they had upped most of the drinking ages to 21.
In
Um,
Indiana, let's consult the expert. Casey was there in 88.
I wasn't 21, so I wouldn't know.
My mother has a great story about the 80s, and well, actually, this maybe more the 70s, but puking in front of a cop in a Dairy Queen parking lot, and
Ooh.
then my father, who probably was also inebriated, getting in the car and driving home. The cop just totally nonplussed, just didn't care.
Wait, did your dad drive home without her or with her?
No, he took her with her.
Oh,
He's
okay,
like, no,
good.
you're puking. You stay here.
Well, so the other half of that story is that my grandfather on my mother's side was like a notorious hard ass, and so my dad basically brought her up to the doorstep, rang the doorbell, and ran. So there you go, Joe. Speaking of belligerent drinking
Yeah.
and life choices, why don't you tell us what we are drinking tonight?
Beer guts.
We summon the darkness.
Yes.
Ness?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
God, if I had to tell you the name of this movie again,
Joe, you
throw
know
my
Joe, you know
microphone.
the darkness.
Yeah. Anyway, so A Tale, as we talked about, 1988. A bunch of kids going to see the heavy metal and doing the rock and roll and all kinds of fun. And if you were a metal fan back in the 80s, and they even mentioned this group, you probably enjoyed a little Megadeth.
Ooh.
Or one Mr. Dave Mustaine, who they had a little conversation about his time in Metallica. So in honor of him and that whole thing, I picked a beer from Canada, which is rare. I don't usually go outside the States, but the fine folks at Unibrew up in Chambly, Canada, actually owned by Sapporo, so don't get too excited. But this beer is their A Tout le Monde, named after the Megadeth song from Euthanasia. You're a fan, Eric. I know you are.
I've said this multiple times in the show, but I saw them live once. They were one of the best live bands I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen them a couple times.
Dave Mustaine live has the voice of an angel.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen them. Last time I saw them was in high school, so I don't know how they're doing now. But
this would have been 2007, maybe. They were still sounded pretty good.
Anywho, so this is a farmhouse ale, which I don't think I've done a ton of, but sometimes you'll hear them call saisons. Pretty much a lighter, fruitier flavored beer, good around like the springtime as it's getting warmer in these here parts. Traditionally, I think it's a French beer, brewed with kind of like farmers would, why they call them farmhouse. Farmers would kind of use their own grain to make these. And usually in the warmer months, just to pass the time. Comes in at only 4.5% alcohol, so not super high.
It's barely a beer.
Yeah, I mean, you're working from home. You can just drink these from start to finish and still be fine. But very light, crisp.
I'm days away.
Somewhat along the lines of like a wheat beer, but not as overpowering with some of the flavors you get in there. But very good. I like this one a lot. And you can usually find their stuff in most stores. Like I say, they're owned by a larger brewery, so they distribute pretty far. Check them out if you want to get in on that fun. Unibrew.com is their website, which you're probably not going to be able to spell, but just you'll figure it out. And there you go, kids.
Love it. Thank you for that. That's the beer pick. Get that every week here in the show. Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail. What the fuck? Let's take a quick break and review.
Let's
We
wrap
Summon
her
the
up.
Darkness.
This is it, Senator. Your big breaking TV. About the prime time. Main feature.
John Schnars.
Eric.
I long for the days when you would do the show in your crisp undershirt because you actually went to work that day.
I mean, now all I wear are t-shirts every day, and then depending on the temperature, I'll put a hoodie on or not. That's my,
Starting to feel like a real garbage person, John.
it's the best.
It's not great.
I really don't want to go back to the office.
I'll be honest, I don't ever either. Although, you're doing a lot of video calls, I assume, John?
Yeah.
So you have to I have to shower, which is a bummer.
You guys also have have space, and so your children are not 6 feet away from you on the other side of a very thin wall.
No, that's true. I wear a hat, Joe, if I haven't showered. That's like my signal to people that if I have my hat on, I haven't
I should mention
I just turned the video on.
Casey helped me figure out custom backgrounds in Teams this week, so that's been a fun experiment.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Joe's background, one of the finest things I've ever seen in background production. Really solid. I meant to comment on. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of compliments.
Do you use it? You roll that out?
I do on team calls and specific groups that I work with. I haven't busted it out in pretty much I'm on twice a week calls with the big boys, and I've not busted out on that, but we'll get there.
Yeah, you're working up to it.
The actually a better one that I found, guy, one of our managers has a background, pretty much it's hell behind him.
Yeah, I have so many good ideas, but I also, one of my coworkers is super religious and has a good sense of humor, but I feel like there's There's a line I don't want to cross.
Yeah.
Denigrating his religious faith,
Yeah.
the team's background. Yeah, that'd be tough.
John, speaking of denigrating things,
Mhm.
you do this to the English language every week.
Come on. Usually you're so laudatory, but here we
John,
are.
Oh, John, one at a time.
John, life is pain. Okay, John. So that's all I got for you this week. Let's
Existence is
let's do the word of the day.
Jesus, you gotta get out there.
Eric, today's word, just for you, I guess. Tourniquet. That's Tourniquet.
There is not a chance in hell you have not used this one before.
I think he has, actually.
Researched it, unless somebody misspelled it in our Bible. A device for stopping the flow of blood through a vein or artery, typically by compressing a limb with a cord or tight bandage. Comes to us from the Old French tourniquet. Tourniquet? I don't have an old French accent. I just have a regular French accent.
Hill,
But tourniquet, coat of mail, influenced by the French word tourner, to turn.
Isn't that the name of the bar that you and I went to by ourselves Friday night during the Spooktoberfest? The Coat of Mail?
Sure, Joe. Sure.
Did you say what that has to do with this movie?
I didn't, but I'm glad you asked. I would say this film has one of the maybe not most memorable, but you got a pretty graphic tourniquet application sequence.
That's true. That's true.
So
I did see that. All right, very well thought out, John. Thank you. Would you like to tell us what We Summon the Darkness is about?
surely,
Summoning the darkness.
yeah, you start with the light, and yeah,
You turn it off.
Don't forget the,
it goes away.
don't forget the rock and roll.
Yeah.
True.
So we summon the darkness, as Eric mentioned, Alexandra Daddario, Maddie Hasten, and then a third young lady, Amy Forsyth. They play these three friends that we see them. The film opens with them on their way to a metal show. Did they give did the band have a name? I don't think they did.
It was a fake name, but Merciful Fate was the music playing when they had the fake band playing, Joe.
Ah,
Just a heads
nice. Okay, thank you.
Is that an '80s band, Joe?
up. They're still around.
But originally,
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
they were very popular. Our buddy Mendo on Slack, big fan, and I think Monica as well.
you know it's Mando, right, with an A?
No, I'm gonna stick with how I go.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, so we see these three young ladies. They're in a what is it? A Ford Explorer. They're in like a pretty rundown car. We are informed that it is Indiana in 1988, which is somewhat important. They are on their way to this metal show. They're kind of, they're dressed. I don't know. Joe or maybe Cece can give us their appreciation of how authentic or inauthentic their outfits would have been for the time. But they're on their way. They're kind of just like joking around, palling around. When they get there, they confront these three guys who had thrown something at their car earlier. Not super important, but end up kind of meeting them. I don't know, deciding they want to hang after the show ends. They take them back to the main character, or one of the main characters, Alex Daddario, her dad's house. And what we come to realize at the end of essentially Act 1 is sort of the first real twist in the plot, is that they have brought them there to perform satanic murder on them.
As
This
you
has
do.
it's been sort of built up through the first act. We hear on the radio, and we sort of see when they're in a gas station, some sort of like background information on the news and things like that about there's been a spree of killings. I think they actually talk about it with the guys when they run into them. There's something like 18 killings sort of across the Midwest. And they're essentially now participating in these killings. And so that kind of tees up the rest of the film. So these three girls, they kill one of the guys right away, and then the other two essentially escape. And the rest of the movie really is about the kind of cat and mouse game, if you will, of trying to finish the job.
I love a good cat and mouse game, John. You know me.
One of the best games.
Cece, what'd you think?
So I hadn't really looked into this, but I'd heard a few things and had heard mainly good stuff about it. For the most part, I liked it. I thought it was maybe a little underdeveloped in some areas, but I really like Alex Daddario, and I thought she was really fun in this. So it definitely at least kept me intrigued. But I will say it left me a little wanton, for sure.
Joe.
Yeah, I'm probably close to Cece, maybe a little more positive. I thought it took a bit to kind of get where it was going, but once we kind of pop off, as the kids are saying, I was very much into it. I kind of like we haven't talked.
Pop off is so old at this point, Joe.
I don't think so. I think kids are still using it.
Okay.
He has a child who,
Yeah,
presumably knows what the kids are saying.
At the Meghan Trainor concerts or the Taylor Swifts, the Tay-Tays. Where was I?
No idea.
So we haven't talked about it, but there is kind of a twist into what's happening here, which I thought was kind of nice because the trailer pretty much gives away what you assume is happening. And once we're kind of locked in this house and bedlam is ensuing, I actually found it pretty entertaining. I know, John, you were complaining about over email about how the fact that, a third of this movie is spent with this one woman walking around the house with an old motor from a boat. I actually kind of love the fact that that is one of the main weapons in this.
Is that what that was? I thought it was some kind of 80s weed whacker contraption.
No,
No,
it was a propeller from a
Yeah,
boat.
because she finds the boat and then they don't even show her really grab it. Whatever, we can come back to it. But
yeah, but no, I kind of love the fact that that's the main weapon in this. She's wandering around the house with an old boat motor.
Just to hit on this really quick, I would have been with you if there had been it didn't have to be overly gory, but there needed to be. She didn't do anything with it. She slashed someone with it one time. It was,
Yeah. But,
there was some face hitting. She hit somebody. I think. She hit somebody in the face with it. But
Yeah. All right, John. Don't yuck my yum, okay? But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I was pretty positive with it.
Casey.
I don't know what "don't yuck my yum" means.
I like it. I'm gonna steal that.
You never heard that? I think that's.
No, I haven't.
That's something else the kids are saying. Casey, don't worry about it.
As an owner of a 19-year-old, I don't know that I've heard it still.
I don't think that's the proper term, Casey.
No, it probably isn't.
No.
I was not a big fan of this movie. As Joe hinted towards, there's a lot missing from this that I think was underdeveloped and they didn't do a whole lot with, and that kind of bugged me from beginning to end. I didn't think anybody was particularly bad in here, and there were moments that I enjoyed, and not saying I completely hated it, but there's a lot of weak attempts to set stuff up, and they just expect us to go with it as they turn a corner and use that as a plot escape, and that just didn't carry me through to the end at all. By the end of this, I was checking my watch a lot. I actually did watch this the entire time, didn't get distracted by the internet and everything. So
Or by your watch.
yeah, or by my watch. So that was, yeah, I've seen better. I'll leave it at that.
John.
I really didn't care for this. I came in. I think Cece might have mentioned. I didn't know anything about this movie. I had seen a couple people talking about it, and I had seen the poster, but I did not watch a trailer or anything. So I didn't really know what it was about going in. I thought the setup was pretty good. I liked. There's a lot of banter in the beginning. There's the banter between the three girlfriends, sort of establishing their relationship, and it's pretty important because a lot of the plot turns that take place sort of in the second and third act really do hinge on how much you believe their relationships to each other and sort of what they're kind of in this for. And then similarly with the three guys, actually the guy I liked the best was the sort of main guy, Mark. He's sort of the quiet, I don't know, hunky type, but like not. I don't know. It's very strange. It's,
Mullet-y type.
Go on, John. What's your
No,
Go,
like-
go on.
well, they were
what's the
definitely like
features that you liked on him most, John?
The mullet.
No, he did have a strong mullet. No, but he actually felt like someone who could carry. Like he had that kind of star power, even though he wasn't really given a whole lot to do. I guess is what I mean. Like he felt like he could carry a scene in the way that some of the other folks. In any event, I liked all the acting talent, and I thought the first act set up a lot of the interaction pretty well. It felt sort of natural. I'm not a big metal person, and to me, this passed the sniff test of like, yeah, like. The concert scene was like a little ridiculous because it was shot from the stage and it was clearly just like people in a room jumping with like lights on or something. I don't know. It was strange.
Yeah, yeah. There did
but-
seem to be lacking like a certain grunginess in the way they shot that stuff that would have been, and that's where we just saw VFW, and then before that guy's other movie. Like that's kind of what I wanted this movie to look like, as long as we're in the era,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Like I think to Joe's point, the turn, the plot twist that this takes, I actually liked. Again, like the concept worked for me. I just think ultimately it falls apart because they just didn't know what to do once they had sort of gotten through that big reveal. And so most of the second act and then the third act as well is people running around this house. It essentially, I was trying to think of like we've seen a lot of other things like, I mean, like in some ways the Hunt is not all that different. Ready or Not, like we've seen other movies where it's like one group of people trying to trace another group of people, and like I actually, Joe mentioned the propeller thing. Like there was a lot of stuff that borders on being played for gags, but it's not that funny. So it's either like they were trying to make a comedy and they just couldn't commit to it fully. For me, I actually,
I mean, to Casey looked, it does not say comedy on IMDb.
Yeah, it
no,
doesn't.
it definitely doesn't. But for me, like this, I actually think the director did a decent enough job. I think it's professionally put together, like the way it's structured and yada yada. It's like edited well, cinematography's fine. I just think the script was really not good. Like it just, bordering on like unbelievable that it got made compared to other things that we've seen. But yeah, I don't know. So I didn't like it.
Like The Godfather, John? Like I don't know.
I don't know. Listen. I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying, but I also think it's maybe a little harsh sounding on this thing. Like this is a pretty decent little B thriller. I think it has some fun moments. I enjoy the setup a lot. It gives me I literally just went on this crusade of watching Heavy Metal Parking Lot, which is a documentary shot in the parking lot of, I believe, a Judas Priest concert in like 1986 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just 20 minutes of just these very special people here at this concert. Then I watched the follow-up documentary like 20 years later where they went and found all these people. Then I watched, what are you giving it watching, Joe? The Downfall?
The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, the
Yeah,
metal years.
which is all about like late stage 80s heavy
Which,
metal.
If you're it's like the prime of 80s hair
Yeah.
metal on the Sunset Strip, and if you have not seen it,
It's
it is
incredible.
streaming on Amazon
If
Prime.
you
and,
enjoy like
Chef's Kiss.
what's the what's the thing where you just enjoy other people's misery? What is that, like Schadenfreude or something? Like that's kind of the joy you get out of something like if you're into that kind of thing, like especially the Western Civilization thing. But anyway, so I feel like weirdly prepared to like judge the metal stuff in this movie, even though it's like Joe's obviously the metal historian here, but you could tell that they were into that kind of scene, like because it's 100% this took inspiration from Heavy Metal Parking Lot. Like just that whole setup in the first 10-15 minutes, it felt like they were trying to get those kind of like get that vibe going. I think the first act is actually really good. I'm sure I saw a trailer for this, but luckily for me, I have amnesia, so I actually didn't remember the twist. There's an end of the first act twist. So
But they don't reveal the like twist, like the big twist isn't in the
there's a
trailer.
twist with the people that we're with, basically. And
yeah.
that happens about
I
30
don't even consider it a twist because that was pretty well telegraphed. I felt.
Yeah.
So
But-
as somebody who didn't know, though, I would say something's up. I didn't fully like latch onto it until probably about 5 minutes before the like full reveal. But that kind of for me made the first act. It gave the first act a little tension because I kind of liked not knowing, and again, this little like sly game kind of being played, and not really knowing who's playing the game for sure until it's kind of revealed. The reveal is awesome. Like this slow burn of that fire scene and handing out the drinks and then playing Never Have I Ever. I thought that was great. Like I was all in on that stuff. The reveal happens. I think the next 15, 20 minutes is pretty solid. They've got the guys tied up. Shit's blown up. There's some monologues. We're kind of starting to understand where our characters are coming from. If there's one thing I agree with you guys on, it's that they didn't have enough set pieces to fill this movie out, because like they kind of blow their idea cache like 45 minutes in, 50 minutes maybe. And so the third act, they're actually kind of end up repeating things. Like the guys end up back. The point at which the guys went back in the closet, I'm like, guys, fucking really? Like
No,
you
that
got
was-
them
that
out of the,
legit. I think I might have picked up my phone and just been like, "Is there anything going on?"
I had
on
the same,
internet?"
same reaction as to when that girl in Crawl finally got out of the house and the goddamn hand of the screenwriter picked up a wave and threw her back into the house. I'm like,
Yeah, but that
fuck
was
you, dude.
awesome. She got pushed
No,
in by like
that
a
was
tidal wave.
bad
That was so
writing, and it's
No,
bad
get
writing
out.
here. Part of the problem is that this house that they're in is very like spacious and open, right? And these dudes are fully capable of running, and so like when you get them out of the room, there's kind of a spatial problem you're dealing with as a screenwriter, where like they could sort of easily just get away and run away, even though the one guy's wounded. The one guy's wounded, but he gets fixed by nano machines or something, and then he's fine. But
But no, they go to the painter.
I just watched Jason X, so I know how these nano machines like fix you up.
I'm like nano machine.
But it's still fun.
Just
like,
go. It's easy. It's fine.
It's
It's
still
a thing.
It's still fun. I think this is a really decent little thriller. I think like part of the issue with horror movies like this is that, and to Casey's. So Casey, it's a little weird for me to say like I've seen better, because yeah, like of course we have. But in the same point, I understand where you're coming from. We see in 2020, we see so many goddamn new horror movies, right? There's
Yeah.
just something setting the bar higher and higher almost every day. Even now, where there's no theatrical stuff happening, we're still getting like creative, out of the box ideas every day. And so like to a certain extent, and I don't know if this is fair, but to a certain extent, I think modern movies get held up. For starters, we're just a more artistically critical culture. But also, I think like there's just so much horror. You got to try to stand out. And I think that when something like this starts to falter a little in the third act and bringing everything home, then you're kind of just like, whatever. You know what I mean? I do still think that there is some. This is like a fun watch for me. It's just not perfect.
Yeah.
See, me saying I've seen better is not a fair, as a lazy statement. I get that, and
No,
it was.
that's not what I
trailing
mean.
up
I
there
like.
at
I
the end.
understand. I understand where
No.
you're coming from. I just think it's like it's tough to judge
s-
something like this.
No, but what I'm saying is, in the counterpoint from what you're saying, for me, when you've got a thriller movie and the main part of the second act, they run out of one room and into a pantry and then stay there for 20 minutes, get out and run back in, it's just not exciting.
Yeah, this is a nice pantry. I mean,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a nice pantry.
It was
That would be
actually.
a room in New York.
I would
Yeah.
quarantine in that house.
It was reminiscent of like the Shining pantry with all that food.
No, I mean, look, for me, and this is what's weird. Like, it felt to a certain extent, the director, the screenwriter, they knew the mechanics of how the film was supposed to work, but they just didn't seem to be able to like get it over. You know, you talked about getting over the hump on the third act. It's even less to me about the story, because I think. Oh, sorry. Let me finish your first thought, and I'll come back to the story. But there's I was
just go
talking
all
about.
over, John. Just
No.
do-
I was talking about the propeller thing. There's very little interesting sort of like kill, death, like maybe like
Well, that's what
part
I
of
mean
you're-
by set pieces.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
part
Like
of what
that's
you're-
why that's why
Fair.
the campfire scene sticks out, because it's a great setup. That's why them tied up in the screen room or whatever that is, like, it sticks out because it's a good setup. And then they're kind of like, raid under the door. I don't know.
No, and then they introduced. So this was like one of my really like the things that lost me. So they introduced two other characters into the into the setting, essentially to get the body count up and to kind of increase tension. So you get the girl's stepmom comes back. It's like super weird because the stepmom's there. She's like, "Oh, I thought you were in Turks and Caicos." And there's clearly like this backstory that I believe they probably wrote
You're
and
sort
maybe
of-
even shot.
You're sort of asked to read a lot of subtext in a very
Yeah.
quick moment where
Yeah,
you're not really
yeah.
getting
Yeah.
enough.
And that doesn't matter. And like they show the stepmom doing blow, it's like doesn't matter. Like none of it ends up mattering because they stab the stepmom in just the most boring possible scene. Like
There is.
Well, I mean,
minutes later.
I liked that there were a lot of points where you had to read into the subtext, because I mean, I did like the idea that the whole plot of the movie is kind of a different take on Satanic Panic of the 80s.
Yeah.
So like, I like that these people who are supposed to be like, super pious, like, yeah, she's upstairs doing blow, and she's, got all of this weird stuff going on outside of, how Christian she is. So, I mean, I liked that. I just think that, and I enjoyed that part of it. It's just that I think they couldn't decide if they were going to lean more into the comedy or more into the gore, and instead of picking a lane, they just kind of stood in the middle.
I do
and that's
agree.
where like you kind of lose a lot.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree that it's a
the
pretty.
reveals feel like a. Sorry, Eric. I was gonna say, it just makes it feel like a giant info dump to me.
Yeah, there's a
As
little
you
bit of that.
say.
I do actually. I'm with Cece though. I do think it's a pretty unique way to approach an 80s. So you're doing the metal thing and tying the Satanic Panic and just flipping it on its head a little bit.
Yeah,
Well, do
which
we
is actually
wanna-
what I really liked about it. Like, and yeah, I guess we can kind of spoil it.
Yeah, I was gonna
because-
say, let's just get the spoiler warning.
So
down.
you're fully expecting these three main women to be like devil worshippers, and they're pretty much trapping these men to kill them. But then it turns out that they're actually doing it as like part of a cult almost, where it's
Led by
not
Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny
Johnny
Knoxville.
Knoxville, yeah.
Like, so they're doing it in the name of the Lord, which I actually thought was like super interesting and like a nice twist, especially after seeing the trailer, where I was kind of like, oh, they pretty much give this away. So I like really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And sorry, just to kind of, I do agree with John that and CC that they kind of ask you to fill in a lot of the blank spaces here, and like the one thing that sticks out to me most is we get this fight scene in the garage at one point, and one of the women gets her hair lit on fire, which for all intents and purposes wouldn't kill her, but then we never see her again for the rest of the movie.
Disappears.
Like to the point where and again, this is kind of spoiling, but like I'm expecting her to pop out at the end or something and do something.
Right.
Like I at one point literally leaned over to Leslie. I'm like, wait, did the woman who got her hair lit on fire, is she dead? Like, is that the thing now?
Yeah, there's
The
a
mom
definite.
in this
There's
kind
a
of movie. You expect her to come back in a jump
Yeah.
scare.
There's
right?
a
With the whole
definite-
nasty looking.
there's a definite problem with like spatially keeping track of things in this movie.
Well, the mom gets stabbed in the stomach, dead immediately. Like, guys, like on the spot. Meanwhile, that other guy had gotten stabbed in the arm. Like, God, there was like 3 other injuries that have, and then he gets shot in the stomach.
Badly, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like more or less walking around right up until the very end of the movie. It's very strange.
It's very
yeah,
strange.
I mean, so the point I think I made over email, and we sort of said it in a couple ways here. Like, I actually think that my understanding here is they probably came up with this idea, which Joe sort of just started to unravel, which is like, hey, what if these devil murders were being done by this Christian church because they want to? Essentially, it was like it's a black flag, isn't it, or a false flag? It's a false flag operation where they're trying to like make people believe in the Satanic Panic by themselves committing the murders, which then makes them sort of donate money to the church.
I didn't quite follow that either.
Yeah,
How
it's
they
a
were
little-
making money off this.
It's a little convoluted. I think it's more that they are trying to they're trying to stoke the panic to drive followers to the church, which then obviously would like equal money.
Yeah.
Well,
Step
also
3,
it's critical.
profit.
Yes.
You have to infer that her dad, the Johnny Knoxville, the preacher, is a televangelist because you see him on TV at one point earlier in the background.
There's a
I
lot
know
of
you
this
guys were
movie.
complaining about him, but I actually thought he was way less spazzy than I thought.
Yeah,
he
but
was
that
gonna be.
doesn't.
yeah,
But that
very
doesn't
fire.
mean he's good. He's fucking garbage in this movie. He's awful. Like, imagine if not John Goodman, but like there are plenty of B tier character actors who could have chewed the shit out of this role.
Shots fired.
And
at
Johnny,
John Good.
listen, I am a white dude who grew up in the late '90s. I love me some Jackass, okay, but this dude should not be in serious acting roles. He's fucking bad.
Well, they got to at least let him ham it up, if nothing else, though, right?
Right.
It's
That's
just
what
so
I was
bad.
kind of waiting for.
If they would have gone for the
He's
top
trying to
and
be
did
He's trying to be
Johnny.
intimidating, and he just looks confused in every scene.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen a movie called Walking Tall, Eric, but
Okay, but that's like a lighter thing, right? Like isn't he the comic relief in that movie?
a little bit, I guess,
Okay.
but still.
That's what I'm saying.
I have seen Walking
Oscar
Tall. That's a
worthy.
sweet movie.
It's great. It's
yeah.
like top notch.
That's a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about the original, and I was a little confused at first.
Johnny Knoxville. It's like 7.
He played the infant.
I would have liked more. I think that if they're going to, like, if we're, I mean, obviously we're supposed to infer that, like, her dad is Johnny Knoxville, the televangelist. I would have liked
Well,
to.
they tell us that at the end.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that, you know, if you're going to broadcast that a little bit at the beginning, I think you really should lean into it a little more.
There is one
so
moment.
That we get the balance of, like, heavy metal versus the, like,
Yeah.
super pure, like,
There's a
stuff.
moment, and I think it's kind of indicative of this movie is a little like, it's a little too cute by half with the things it's trying to infer to you. Like, I think it thinks it assumes too much of its audience. Like, normally we have the opposite problem where movies think the audience is stupid. This thing's like a little too obtuse or something, where like it's not. It thinks it's giving you the breadcrumbs, but they're so like they're very easy to miss. So there's a scene early on where, right after the reveal happens, and the main girl, Dario, the guy says to her, like, you sound just like that preacher guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's where you kind of, to me, I was like, oh, I guess. Because then based on her reaction, but like, she's already revealed herself. So why she would be upset about it doesn't really make any sense.
Well, this is where, so, all right. So like, this is where, to me, the actual plotting of the film sort of breaks down, because like, you can kind of take it at face value and just like believe that this woman, this woman, she's a girl, whatever, in the movie.
John, no, not the right word.
She's a woman.
She's
No,
a
well,
woman. Jim.
all right, she's a woman.
Have you seen True Detective?
We were talking about how she's 34 or 35 years old, and theoretically in this movie she's playing like 20. I would say 22 at the like high end of what they're supposed to be. In any event, the plot that she is putting together. The problem I have with it is like why these other girls are participating at all. Now the Bev character, who ends up being essentially the main character, you sort of understand. She's like the runaway. She was taken in by this church. She was sort of brainwashed and like brought into this thing. But she's like skeptical from the first second. So like she's already like kind of fallen out. And then the other girl,
so
you're supposed to believe that she's so like devoted to this church that she's willing to commit like all these murders.
When she's
but
clearly
she's like a drunk and like wants to
clearly
like party all the time.
She's a huge party girl. Like, and
well,
again,
but it's like Rumspringa. It's like the time, like this is the one time she gets to do
but
it.
I think it
so she's like leaning too far.
I think it would have been a little more. It would have been a little more.
That, but that makes some sense.
But it would have been more convincing if, after the reveal, there were slight personality changes, especially in the party girl. Like personality changes, you say like, oh no, okay, this is serious now. Whereas her character just acts exactly the same.
Yeah.
Well, and like when Johnny Knoxville shows up, for one, you see the car pull up. It's like, oh, I bet that's Johnny Knoxville, the preacher. But then like he gets out of the car and he sees the girl come running out of the front of the house, shoots her. And then he says something, I don't remember, it's not exact words, but he's like, oh, I am the Redeemer or something like that. And that's when you think, watching the movie as a viewer, you're following the formula. That's when you think Johnny Knoxville, he thinks he's a religious icon, the Redeemer. This is when shit's going to get crazy. And he basically kind of goes in and yells at his daughter a bunch, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think they allude to or even say that. Like,
I did kind of like that scene where it's all out of control and he's just like eating a snack in the kitchen.
Well, I mean, they say, and the one woman says, like, he's pretty much doing this to take people's money. Like, he doesn't believe this stuff. Like, so I kind of bought the fact that he would just be like, no, you're fucking this up. Like, I don't.
Right.
At no point did I expect him to be like over the top, super Jesus-y.
No, but and then once we kind of see where the whole thing goes, it makes sense why he's so blasé about what's happening while he's in the kitchen.
But why would his daughter have sacrificed herself at that point? Because like you either have to believe that she's in on.
What do you mean I don't know what you mean by sacrifice herself.
He basically tells her, "I'm going to make you the fall person for this," and then strangles her. Yet she still goes out and tries to like stop the girl from getting away. Like it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Like at that point, you'd be like, "Wow, my dad just tried to kill me." Like, this is weird. You know,
at a certain point, she tries to reason with the other woman, saying like, "Yeah, my dad was trying to kill me and fool me," and like I think that's why she goes after the girl, because at that point they still have a confrontation.
But no, she runs her over though. I mean, all right,
There's one moment in this movie that really popped me that it made me wish that they had actually kind of endeavored to make this a little more of a comedy, which I thought there was some funny physical comedy after they've locked the guys in the room and she tries to barrel down the door with her shoulder. Like that really made me laugh. Like that was just good. That's just good comedy, John.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
who
like
that
the
is,
gay-
but I found her delightful.
Yeah,
I did like
thought all
her. I
three
did
of
like
the
her.
Main
She-
actresses.
she's
were
got
really
a-
solid.
Yeah.
She's got the most personality probably of anybody in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the gag of them trying to mess with those guys under the pantry door, but not for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, them spraying Raid and trying
was-
to burn hairspray through there. That's funny.
I was fine
If
with
it
it.
had done something,
I
it
was
just, like,
honestly
created, like a little fire at the bottom of the door.
I was honestly fine with it until they went back in, because that to me is just lazy. It's just like you don't know what to do with
Yeah.
these. Because I think the problem they run into is that the movie's really about the girls, but theoretically, you're mostly rooting for the guys, but they're not really. They don't really. The script doesn't really care about them. They're not really developed.
No, they're not likable.
And
in
so
that way.
you've got they've
Except
got
for
to
the
get
hunky one, Joe.
they've got to
Jesus.
get the guy.
John, you and I have different types, all right?
They have to
He does not look like
continually.
Kyle.
They have to continually try to get the guys out of the way so that the movie has time for development with the women characters, but then you're still got to be invested in their escape, and so the movie has to keep kind of coming back to it, and that's part of what makes it feel weird, because then the guys come out and then they're like, oh, actually we have more stuff to do with the girls, get back in the room, just run back in the room.
Yeah. Whereas if you would have made this, if they would have leaned into the horror comedy and you make those guys kind of bumbling and lovable, and they did something Keystone Copish, ran out of there and got chased back in, it would work better, like
Yeah.
you said, because they're not going to be concentrating so much as fleshing that out, and it would fit the comedy vein, and it would be a better solution, I would think.
I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
if we had just made this a different movie, I might have liked it more.
Yeah.
You know, John. Isn't John's like staff pickup next? Isn't that the only one who hasn't picked one yet? Or no, Casey, we have
Casey
yours, but
has
we
it,
haven't
you're
watched it yet.
Yeah.
I'm ready, Joe. I'm not actually ready. I have to think about it. But
Are you? Do you know what your
I
pick
can
is?
be.
I'm
I don't
curious.
know, I'll think of something.
I bet it's gonna be awful.
Good lord.
It's actually going to be Walking Tall, the original from 78 or whatever.
Can we just
we've got here?
can we just review the peanut butter solution again? That's the kind of vibe I need in my life right now.
We'll get to tweets, but somebody actually sent in a thing about that.
Oh, very nice.
Wow.
That
I'm
is
running.
weird.
I'm running out of comfort food movies. I watched
Yeah.
all of Nightmare on Elm Street. I watched all of Friday the 13th. I watched both like 6-hour documentaries. I'm now watching Halloween.
Jeez.
We've got-
I've watched-
How do you have time to watch all these movies?
Well, it's like background while I'm doing work.
Oh,
basically.
okay. That makes
we're getting completely off topic, but we got high last weekend and tried to watch Cats, and it was a
the butthole
mind
version or the
fuck.
non-butthole version?
I don't know, but like there's no setup, no explanation as far as what's happening there. I was fucking lost.
Yeah.
Did you guys
So I
make it?
saw the musical, and the musical makes no goddamn sense. Like
No,
legit
it's-
zero. And if they just made that into a movie, yeah,
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Pretty
It's
much.
just they open up and then they're singing about stuff, but you can't really understand. And then there's cockroaches, and then I was.
I mean,
lost.
I think everyone on Twitter's seen the gif of that cockroach scene. It's definitely nightmare fuel just from the images.
Yeah.
unreal. Like I'm watching, I'm like, who thought this was gonna be a thing? Like,
I assume you read the story about the buttholes.
yeah. Well, Casey sent it, right?
I sent you guys the video of the
Yeah.
butthole cut that somebody made.
Did you see this, John? They had to send.
Yeah, I've seen it.
They had to send the VFX artist back to take out all the buttholes because they decided
Yeah.
it was too much. Listen, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have cats. I don't need any part of that.
Buttholes.
What are the Jellicle cats?
Anything else you guys want to say about this movie? Johnny Knoxville sucks. I don't like him. Bad.
Yeah, I mean,
when his car rolled up, I wish they had done that little like twang that they did at the first.
If ever there, I mean, just to call back some previous BGH episodes, if ever there was a movie that needed a surprise appearance by Malcolm McDowell as this character, it is
yeah.
this movie.
He
He's
would
not-
have been
Yeah.
really good, actually.
He's not doing anything, and he's perfect for this role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
doing something.
You know, I was
Joe.
thinking about it. Then they did pretty well, I think, with the way they set this in '88 and like the Satanic Panic and stuff. But from what I remember, I think the Satanic Panic was largely over by like '88.
I thought it was more, like
I mean,
early mid
that's a
80s.
little
I
late.
don't know. I feel like shortly after this, you got into like Marilyn Manson and stuff, and like that kind of stoked it again. Like
Came
it
back.
was. I
mean, it
watched
was-
a lot of Sally in my
Yeah.
youth, and like
It's true.
'88 was.
I just remember a big satanic cult scare in my hometown and I probably in like '84. We actually had like curfews and shit.
Joe, who'd you like? Joe, who'd
Casey,
you?
I was gonna say I thought in Indiana it might still actually be.
Yeah.
circled.
Exactly.
Just still going. Joe, if you had to pick Sally or Montel Williams,
Oh,
Sally.
Yeah.
Sally for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cece was about to be upset, Joe. If you
I
went
was
the
about
other
to
way.
say, I was like, I mean, I loved Montel too, but Sally.
Montel, I feel like was more like heartfelt, not heartfelt,
Yeah.
but like more
He
like
was trying to
family.
do good things. Sally was
Yeah.
all about that trash.
he used to
Just
do all
straight up.
that. He used to do all the shows with that psychic fraud lady, the
Yeah.
Sylvia,
Yeah.
whatever her name is.
Sally was like the precursor to Jerry Springer. I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
Like.
She did all those.
Montel was more the guy with the white hair that was.
Oh, Phil
he was-
Donahue.
Yeah.
She did all
It was
those
more- it was
great.
more Montel.
Sally did all those great shows in the early '90s when there was kind of like a moral panic about wrestling.
Yeah. Well, yeah, moral panic about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
she was just identifying the next moral panic.
Yeah, she was pretty much just stoking
There's
like
this famous.
housewives.
So I don't know,
of the-
Joe. Do you remember Rick Rude?
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
his gimmick was that he would get like airbrush tights that he'd wear, and it was always different depending on the match. And he showed up-
Ravishing Rick Rude, right?
Yes,
I
yeah.
remember
He
that.
showed up. He showed up on the show with Sally Jesse Raphael airbrushed onto his tights.
I feel like
It's
I watched this. Like,
it's
that
just
was
pretty
around. That was like the height of my wrestling too.
I
Yeah,
was just
that's
listening to
great.
a thing about this, so that's why it's in my
Yeah.
head. All right,
I
guys.
do. I not to like harp on this too much, but I did kind of appreciate the like it. It very well fits into what Eric was talking about, like the heavy metal parking lot and the decline of Western civilization, because it's very much like a lot of these bands that they're talking about like weren't metal really,
Yeah.
but like it's very
Yeah.
much like that decline of Western civilization where they're talking about like Poison, like it's the
Well-
heaviest thing you ever heard.
well,
and,
but
like,
but even in that and in that documentary and in Heavy Metal Parking Lot, there's definitely a lot of like you get the vibe of the posturing, right? There's sort of different factions of fans, and if you're in with one
Yeah.
faction, it's like not
Which-
cool to like this other
Yeah.
band.
Can I say that scene where the guys are asking them where like who the first concert was that they saw, and like one girl's like super on top of it, like she has all this stuff said, and then the second girl's like, well, it was just so long ago. Like that whole conversation was so well written,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
like, man, I've heard that conversation.
No,
so
exactly,
much
and
in
that,
real
that's
life.
where I'm coming from, and I say like they really
Yeah.
captured the vibe of some of these like things that I've watched recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like, and I'm probably looking too deep into this, but like they mention what like Def Leppard and Scorpions, but then they also talk about Metallica, and like I feel like Def Leppard early and Scorpions were sort of on the cusp of not
Right.
being into like hair metal, so like that still would have been acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
My
they-
only
Especially for
gripe-
like girls to like Scorpion, like
Yeah.
if they were like a more attractive band rather than like an actual like.
Because they like the winds of change.
My only gripe was the Dave Mustaine conversation with Metallica.
Yeah.
where
Oh,
the guy
yeah.
says like
Yeah.
they went downhill since Mustaine was booted out, and it's like he never recorded any songs with America, only on the like a demo EP that they
That's
did.
what I thought.
Um,
So the other part
but-
was I was trying to do the math in my head, like, because I always thought of '90s Metallica as the Newstead era, and I was trying to figure out was he on Master of Puppets? Would that have been the album they're talking about?
No. So Dave Mustaine wrote, I think, like 3 or 4 songs that were on Kill 'Em All, their first album.
No, I'm talking. I
Uh,
know, I'm talking about Jason Newsted though. Like, what was his first album?
Jason Newsted didn't show up until And Justice for All,
Okay, so
which
that-
would have been like early 90s maybe. I'll look it up. But Cliff
Yeah.
Burton died on the tour for Master of Puppets.
Because it felt like the Newstead convo was maybe a little out of that might be a movie gaffe, John. I
Did
can't.
they mention?
I'll add it to the
So-
list.
Yeah, because
Well,
they're
no,
like, oh,
Justice
they're like,
for
oh,
All
they've got
came
it.
out
They're like,
in,
oh, they've got a new guy. What's his name? And then somebody's like, Jason Newsted.
So it's
Yeah,
actually no. And Justice for All came out in August of '88. So
So
Cliff
that's what-
Burton
so that's
would
what
have
they're
died
talking
like,
about.
shortly before
I
that. So
guess
it
it
actually
would have been
was,
his first year.
Yeah.
But then
They
that
did their research, Eric. You take it all
All
back.
right, I take it back.
did that whole conversation though at the bonfire remind anybody about else of like me and John hanging out and talking about the heavy metals? Hey John, do you like heavy metals? Yes, I like
Well,
that Metallica.
No, I don't know.
That's
I
what
actually thought it was
See,
pretty good.
It has a sniff test, at least for me, who's not that knowledgeable. I was just like, oh yeah, all
But
right.
also,
they-
but also, let's not
Those are metal
forget.
bands.
But let's not forget. Here's why it's like layered: is that the girls are faking it.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
no,
True.
but the one isn't. Bev isn't. That's like the key. Like she actually
Yeah.
knows what she's talking about. That's to Cece's point. Like
Yeah.
she has like very like deep thoughts and like is correcting them and I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
but
But actually, it didn't bother me at all. Like, 'cause I've talked about this a lot. Like, I hate when movies are like, oh, there's a heavy metal guy, and like, let's put a Metallica shirt on and like a sideways Danzig poster in his room, and like, that's it. Like,
anytime we see a movie that references metal or has like lots of metal in it, I'm always like, God, I cannot wait to hear what Joe thinks.
It's
It really does. It
I-
upsets you.
I find it really interesting because in the last, like, let's say 5 years, we have reviewed so many movies that are treading the same ground of, like, very specifically this 80s metal thing. And I think, like, I think that you used to think of, or pop culture used to tend to run on, like, 20-year nostalgia cycles. So the 70s were really nostalgic for the 50s. You fast forward to the 90s when we were, like, adolescents or adults, if you're Casey. Like, there was a huge 70s boom right in the 90s. But the funny thing is, like, in the 2010s, the 80s really started coming back, and they've kind of, like, still not gone away, even though if you're talking early 80s, that was 40 goddamn years ago. And, like, there's still
Shut
this
up.
fast...
shut your mouth.
No, but I'm just saying there's still, like, fascination with 80s pop culture that...
Yeah.
And there's 90s now. 90s have definitely joined now, and, like, I'm all for
Yeah.
that. But I think it's interesting that that cycle has sort of changed, and I wonder how much of it has to do with the breaking down of monoculture. Like, I almost wonder if, like, because there isn't as much of a distinctive one culture that we're all a part of now, if the, like, 80s, 90s will now always kind of be around, or at least for a long time, because they were the
That's
last decades to have, like, super distinct feelings, if that makes
Well,
sense.
I just think you've got writer and or director here who were probably like they're probably a little like so I'm 82. They were probably like a little older than me if I had to guess. And so they actually just like lived this stuff or had a fascination with it and didn't get a chance to live it, and so that's like why those nostalgia cycles work on those timelines is like when you're 10 and you're in your like
Sure.
creative prime when you're like 30, so it's now
I guess I just expected, like, I expected once the 90s stuff started happening, which is definitely in full force now, that the 80s stuff would disappear. But it really hasn't, because you're still seeing. Didn't we just see there's a
it's
remake?
grown.
There's that remake that you guys were talking about in Slack of that Nick Cage
Valley
movie,
Girl.
all
Oh,
set in
Valley
the
Girl.
set in the
Yeah,
80s. So it's
that's-
like my point is, like,
And we've
it's
got
even
Joe Bob back.
it's not just horror fans. Like, it's even still happening in the mainstream.
Yeah.
I think things like Satanic Panic are never really going to go away. So like whether or not the movie, like I actually I don't know to what extent I would even call this movie like that nostalgic. Although they definitely, like I said, did the research on some of this metal stuff and treat it seriously. But it really, to me, it read as like they wanted to do something about Satanic Panic, like that was like the touchstone that they were anchoring on, and then it's like you got to do your research from there.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I will say if I do have one gripe, this movie, like 88, I was probably like 3 or 4 years after starting going to like metal shows, and there was never women there, and I found that to be like complete bullshit.
Joe, there are women. There are women in heavy metal parking lot.
Yeah,
It's definitely
yeah, I
there.
guess
Listen,
you're right.
there's a ratio issue, but they're there.
Yeah, I do like heavy
These
metal
three
parking lot.
these three women were
They were
very
there,
attractive too. So
My,
let's just
well, there was
put
no
that-
women at Saratoga Winners, Eric. All right.
Well, Joe.
My favorite part of heavy metal parking lot is all these women talking about how they want to jump Rob Halford's bones, like literally, like verbatim. That's what they say, and then like 10 years later, you find out they're like, no, Rob Halford isn't so much into you.
you might like it, but Rob's
Yeah.
not.
Man.
Uh,
All right, guys. We summon the darkness.
Yes.
Would you recommend Cece?
Yeah.
Casey,
I'd give it a pass.
Joe,
Yes, I would say go for it.
John.
no.
I say yes.
Majority rules.
I enjoyed it.
It's
Yeah.
nice. It's been a while since we've had like a split decision.
split
like this.
decision, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how many years it's been since I've actually disliked something we watched too?
Yeah, that's true.
I was actually shocked when I saw her email like Casey didn't like us. I'm like, all right, now we're getting somewhere.
All right, guys, let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Experience the most exciting night at the movies this summer.
Very intense. I'm still shaking. I've never seen anything like this.
Experience the abyss.
Unbelievable. They dragged me here and I loved it.
There's always something happening.
It was thrilling.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Blew my mind. It felt like you were right there in the middle of the screen.
The abyss.
It blew Batman out of the water.
Rated PG-13.
Now playing Check Your Newspapers for Showtimes.
Hello, I'm Nell Campbell from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and you're listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
Joe,
What's up, man?
do you know what this Friday is?
Is Friday Joe Bob?
The last
Sick. Got plans now, motherfuckers.
the last drive-in returns, season 2. He is back. It is yet to be determined if this is a quarantine edition or if it was pre-shot. Let's hope for the latter, but here we are. I'm gonna watch it either way. I just want to put a shout out, as I've been saying on the show. If you are interested, we do like live chats during the during these episodes. They live stream on Shutter TV. People hang out in Slack. It's a ton of fun. I'm in bed by midnight usually, but there's a lot of adults who stay up past that time, so you can chat with them.
Are they doing? It's a double feature like
Same thing.
last season?
I believe it's the same thing as last season. Yeah.
Nice. I'm very excited.
Me too. The world needs this right now. I think we can all agree. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. That'll be my only pitch for the evening. CC, really quick. There's some Something Red episodes people can check out, right?
Yes, there are 2 episodes out right now of Cabin at the End of the World and Stephen King's The Outsider.
And we have a BGH book club that you can check out for free on Goodreads. We're also on on Slack, but if you can do the whole thing on Goodreads. What are we reading right now?
The Boatman's Daughter.
Love it.
Yes. They just picked the movie for May, but
the book for me. Yeah, I hadn't looked at it yet.
The Terror.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Boatman. All right. That's all I can think of every time you say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, 5K, Joe.
Oh yeah, we're doing a 5K. It's gonna be I don't remember. John, do you remember the date?
It's the 14th of May.
Yes, that's right, May 14th. We're actually just a few weeks out. Like we said in the past, we're not doing medals or anything. It's really more just like a social thing for you guys to get out there and enjoy yourself. And yeah, the weekend of the 14th, we'll do Saturday and Sunday. Just go out, take your pictures, do your fun, use the tag BGH 5K. And yeah, I think most of us are doing it. Eric's gonna get out there. John is just started. You know,
I'm not.
I shall be doing it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
You should walk it with me, Casey.
I might. Me and Agatha.
I might when I take the dog out on my walk, because I've actually been using Runkeeper, if only because I wanted to keep track of the miles I walk to try to stay sane during all this. I walk a full almost 2-minute faster pace if I have my dog with me, because he hates being outside, and so he pulls me the whole time. So there you go. Maybe I'll torture him by making him walk 3 miles with me. All right, guys. Info at bloodygoodhorror.com. First up, Caitlin from Kissimmee.
Hey, what's up, Caitlin?
Yeah, well, girl. Is a spooktacular out of the question? Contracted 2 is still out. Didn't think things could be worse than Contracted, and look what happened.
We did one. I could not tell you
horrifying.
one thing that happened.
I
in
believe
Contracted.
I was very drunk for that one. I don't.
Yeah, was that the 40s one? where
No,
we decided to do...
Zombievers. I'm pretty sure was the 40s.
Yeah.
Which
The last one was the one where y'all called me and I was in a Waffle House, right?
Oh, that's right. That was nice. We should do one, right?
Yeah.
We're all
Is
at
that the-
home. That's like...
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which one did I fall asleep in?
I don't remember that. I just
Yeah,
remember.
It's gold.
I remember very little from any of the movies because I got so drunk for all of them.
I mean, we've been recording on Tuesdays. Couldn't we just do a spooktacular as an episode one week on a Tuesday night?
Tuesday? I mean, like, let's try it. Let's do it on a day when I can sleep it off the next day, man.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, I still gotta wake up early and like, you know,
How
send
is
my
your
daily
commute
activity
rough?
meeting email.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, no, I think we should do it. I'm all for it.
All right. Well, we'll start looking at movies. How's that? Okay. This is a great email. I'm very excited by this email. This is from Joe. Someone's impersonating you, Joe.
Oh boy.
Hello, BGH. I used to write yous before, but I don't for a long time because McDonald's changed the Wi-Fi password.
Wait, this is me? This is someone...
No, I think this may or may not be the original Schnars character guy from like 8 years ago. Thanks to the corona, I've been catching up on some of you guys' shows, and I've gained a lot of respect to the Joe character because he's not afraid to flush his cereal.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
I was a lot I was a lot surprised to see the grumpy beard character made people. I think he's talking about me having children.
I assume so, yeah.
I thought he might be holding out to be a pet parent with the Snares character, but congratulations with the D. Very funny to picture a poopy diaper changing poopy diapers. That's pretty good. This newer pizza lady is pretty cool. But what has become of the other beard character? I don't think they are the same one, but current year stuff and science is good. I don't think they are, but I don't mean offense. Anyway, Casey, you a real one, like Jerry. Goodbye. I don't know what any of that means.
Who's Jerry?
Why is Cece the pizza one?
Cece's Pizza.
I feel like there's definitely been like discussion on shows of pizza, I feel like, but
well, and I've eaten a lot of it's Cece's Pizza
chain.
But I mean, I've also eaten a lot of pizza in the pre-show.
It was like a drunken pizza, I think, at one point, right? All right.
All right. Good to hear from that guy. Info at bloodygoodhorror.com. What do we got on Twitter?
Yeah, we're on Twitter at BG Horror. We use the hashtag AskBGH every week, and we got a few. First up from our good friend Erica. That's Cheesy Whiz. You know Erica. She's a
Night of the Living podcast, formerly.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she's a part anymore, but one of the better people in this world. She says, did you will this to happen? Svengoolie is trending. And she sent a screenshot of apparently like a week ago, Svengoolie was trending on Twitter. And I immediately got scared that he was dead.
Yeah. No, not only is he alive, he looks great still.
Yeah, alive, but I could not find why he was trending, unfortunately. But because we were talking about him. Was it last week or the week before? Maybe.
Yeah, well, it was during the Elvira episode.
Yes, there you go. Yeah,
but he's still doing shows.
Yeah.
Every week, every Saturday. Yeah.
Next up, we got two from at BDD Paul. That's Paul somebody. First one says, do you have any favorite cold pasta dishes? Asking for a friend. Casey, do you have any favorite cold pasta dishes? I don't know why that's directed at you, Casey, but do you?
I don't know either, but I do like a nice pasta salad. I don't know anything about recipes or anything, though.
Yeah, I like a pasta salad. You got to get the vinegar ratio right. It's got to be pretty vinegary, and you got to have a ton of like pepperoni and cheese in there, and no olives because
pepperoni, huh?
Olives are disgusing.
Yeah,
throw those in the garbage.
This was directed at Casey, so if Casey likes olives,
I don't care.
It's my fucking pasta salad.
My when I lived in Florida for a while, I have some relatives down there, and one of my like cousin's brother, I don't know, weird. He makes pasta salad.
Florida,
with,
they're the same thing, right?
Yeah, he makes pasta salad with little baby shrimp, like the little teeny tiny baby shrimp.
Ooh.
Really, very good.
What, like sea monkeys?
Yeah, almost. They're like literally like that big. They're delicious.
Thanks, John. All right, one more from Paul and somebody. Horror hosts? Question mark? You guys should check out Halloween Harvey. Medium size, big deal in a few Texas markets. None of us are in Texas.
There's a
but...
lot of qualifiers there, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Halloween Harvey right now. He kind of looks like a bootleg Paul Bearer, if you remember him from 90s WWE.
That's a good.
He's got like white face paint on, a very black mustache.
All right, next up we got two from our buddy Cody Yolo. This is a Kill Bang Mary. The Hand from Idle Hands, Lady Gremlin from New Batch, or Beetlejuice. I mean, obviously Mary, the Lady Gremlin, Greta, I believe her name is. You bang the hand because that's just a handy, right? And you kill Beetlejuice because, you know.
Counterpoint.
Yeah, like,
Counterpoint.
Why would you go in a different direction?
The hand did touch Jessica Alba's butt.
Yeah.
Oh, see, you're saying you want to marry?
By
You would marry the hand?
I'm not sure. I honestly, I hate these, as I've said on the show.
I mean, Greta never actually killed anyone or anything. Like, she was just looking for love, and I was there to give it to her.
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
Lordy.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. Anybody else have a different opinion?
I think I agree with you because it seems like Beetlejuice is really clingy.
Yeah.
So I don't think that you would want to bang or marry him because it would be really hard to get away from him.
I did
So
like his little.
I like the thought process.
He's fun in the movie too, but I could see him getting like super obnoxious.
Yeah,
over time.
he's great. He's great for like a one night stand. But then you're like, okay, dude, stop calling.
When I was a kid,
I have to rewatch Beetlejuice. Is a movie I have not. I used to watch that like regularly.
Well, that
and
was
I
like
probably missed, 25 years.
That was a cable staple in the 90s
Yeah.
for sure. I when I was a kid, I always wanted to live in the little like fake town that they built there. You know, before they let him out, he's like living there. That seemed cool.
Yeah. Oh, you know what we watched over the weekend? Again, when I was high, was Mars Attacks.
Is that
It's
good?
so
That was good too.
Ridiculous.
But it's so good.
Yeah. I think it is the first time Leslie had seen it, and she had a lot of questions.
I've never seen it.
I think you'd like it.
It's great.
It's really.
Stop trying to help you.
So campy, like it's so, and it leans hard into that campy.
Yeah, I think I'd probably appreciate it more now. Like I don't think I understood
yeah.
what the hell it was when it came out.
Yeah, it's pretty great. All right, another one from Cody Yolo. Would you rather be trapped on the rock in the shallows or the basement in Crawl?
God.
I still haven't seen The Shallows. I don't
They
think.
both seem real bad. I'm not a big
Yeah,
fan of dank.
I don't want either of those.
I'm not a big fan of dank basements, but also if you're stuck in that rock, you're just like sunburning to death and
Yeah.
starving to death.
Yeah.
I was gonna
guess.
say it would be nice to get some sun, but
Here's the thing: in Crawl, literally all she had to do was knock that one brick out, and the movie would have been over in 5 minutes. So maybe that's where I want to be.
I don't know. I think I'd get claustrophobic with
You
the
wanna-
in the basement after a while.
You
so
want
I'd
to
have
talk
go for
about
rock.
half-baked movies, John?
Oh
yeah,
no!
it was baked from day one.
In the shallows. All right, we got two more. One from Book of Faces. I love the staff pick shows. The Peanut Butter Solution was my favorite episode. Everyone seemed shell-shocked in a hilarious way. Who's next on the roster, and what film have they chosen? So, Casey, I think you've picked yours, right? That
I
we're gonna
have.
do?
Yeah, I've got picked out. I don't know when we're going to do it yet, but we're going to be watching National Lampoon's Class Reunion.
Oof. I am very interested to see if this holds up because watched it a lot as a kid, and even back then, I remember thinking like, "This is not great."
Yeah,
but-
I've never seen it.
I didn't see it for the first time until like within the last since we've started this show. So
Oh, really?
I didn't have the growing up experience, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit then. But I'm also a big National Lampoon's fanboy.
I
too,
agree
so.
though. I've been very much. I was just saying this pre-show. I've been enjoying these trips into random weird older movies. So I think we are going to try to do more of it because honestly, like I'm having trouble wrapping my brain around serious movies right now.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to get any new movies for a while.
Yeah,
Like,
so,
there's
like,
only
fuck
so
it.
many that have been made,
Yeah.
and once they're done, we're going to have some time.
Yeah. I have found myself many times, a couple times now, especially in the last week and a half or so, clicking through all my Netflix or Hulu. It's like, oh God, I don't know what I want to watch.
I'd
think I'll
love to
watch it all.
do. I mean, I really enjoy when we do weird, old, obscure shit. Honestly, because none of us know what to make of it. Like, we will listen.
Yeah.
If this thing keeps going on, we're gonna do Bud the Chud. All right.
Oh,
I still have not seen
I'm in
it.
for that.
I still have never seen it.
I'd be all in. Yeah.
I got it.
There we go.
All right. Last but not least, Nelson Tommy. Is drinking your morning coffee in the bathroom while doing your morning duty weird? The wife can't stand it, so I need some justification here. Yes, it is. It's anytime a coffee cup or any cup ventures into the bathroom, once it crosses that barrier and you continue drinking or eating, that's disgusting.
Hold on. You take like a cup of water in to brush your teeth, though.
No, Joe.
What?
Joe, you
no,
flush.
I have a faucet in my bathroom, John.
What do you
Why would I
like?
do that?
Splash the water in your mouth? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you
All
make a
right.
little cup.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
what I do. I don't keep a cup in there. That's weird.
I
Whatever.
generally agree that sitting on the toilet and drinking things, it's there's a line there. That
It
I'm
is
not sure.
borderline. But Joe
Well, hold on.
flushes
Let me
food
ask
down
this
his
one.
toilet.
Yeah, but I
Well,
don't.
yeah, that's the whole
I'm not
separate-
eating that cereal up until
And you're
the
not
point
eating
where
out
I'm
of that
Hold on.
bowl after you
Yeah.
do.
Can I ask a separate, somewhat related question, Joe? Have you never taken a beer with you into the restroom?
Oh yeah, okay.
I was literally about to say, like, there are drunken moments where I'm like, I just can't put
Yeah.
this down. Like, I'm
John-
gonna hold this while.
John, once you're drunk, there's a whole host of societal rules that do not apply anymore. Like
Yeah.
some of
I
them,
don't know.
some of
It's-
them still do. Clearly, some of them still do, but there are some that it's okay to just forget.
I'm gonna go the polite route because we don't know. Maybe he needs that coffee to get himself going. So I'd say it's
Well,
not for me, but if it
yeah,
works for you,
But
go
for
it.
me though, I take those sip and I'm like, let's do this, and then I just go do it and I
that's
come
how
back.
I was gonna say. My thing is like I'm not in there long enough to
Yeah.
need a drink with me. But if you are, like,
No, a coffee poop is basically like you just turned a jet engine on, and
Yeah.
I don't think it works that way for everyone though. That's my.
they-
That's
well,
my
listen, they should eat more
understanding.
fiber because I'm living the life over here.
Yeah, no.
I never thought much about like drinking coffee on the toilet. I had a friend though, long after college that I found out likes to smoke cigarettes while he's taking a shit. I always thought that was a little weird.
Yeah, see, that's
It's basically
I don't know.
like drinking 4 cups of coffee at the same time.
Yeah, but I bet I guess if you're relaxing, right?
I generally subscribe to the episode of Seinfeld where George can't return the book because it's apparently
Yeah.
like been in a bathroom. And-
Okay,
No, he
Joe.
took it into the bathroom in the bookstore.
Yeah,
Joe-
but like
Joe-
somehow every place he takes it knows that.
Yeah.
Joe, so what do you do when you're taking a dump?
I don't know. I look at my phone, or sometimes I read shampoo bottles.
Okay, but
You
it's
put your phone
okay.
next to your face.
Yeah, so your phone's covered in shit, is what you're saying.
Well, I don't put my phone in my mouth.
No, you
You
put
put
your
it up
hand on
on
it
it.
and then you eat.
Listen, I'm good.
I
Joe,
wash
but
my
I know
hands
now
after.
that
Well, all I'm
Joe's
saying is,
bad.
I'm just trying to listen. I use my phone too. I'm just pointing at the hypocrisy that you're saying you can't bring anything in there, but you have your one thing you touch all day long with you.
Look, Eric, I'll tell you right now, I Clorox wipe my phone at least 3 or 4 times a day.
Okay,
so
well there you go. That's fine. Doesn't that leave a residue? I like to use alcohol.
it doesn't. No.
Okay.
We do have alcohol wipes. That's a good point. We should start just using those.
A little cotton swab.
Oh, whatever.
Little cotton swab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it for tweets, though.
All right.
Good one. Nailed it.
Yeah. Info at bloodygoodhorror.com, patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. There's a lot of crazy shit going on out there. So I think we just want to say thank you to the people who are supporting us and helping keep the show alive. It is always appreciated, but it is appreciated now more than ever. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had like a spike in people just subscribing to Patreon over the last week, which
Yeah,
I
and-
think it's amazing the fact that, like, with everything going on, people are actually putting some money in there. So thank you guys very much.
I agree. It's a really nice. It's really great, and we're trying to use our platforms, especially Slack, to try to organize community stuff to help kind of distract folks. So we're trying to do what we can.
I'm trying to put out an
Communities.
Ask Joe episode weekly, but John and Eric are just like doing their best to try and keep me down.
Joe, you had yours last week. I'll get it done, okay, Joe?
Will you though, Eric? Will you?
I
mean,
will. It's actually super easy now that I have the project. Like I put it off for like 3 days last week, and then I opened the project. I'm like, oh, this is gonna take like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Well, Much like I consider myself like the mayor of Atlanta, trying to get the borders open and people back out there. And you
I
guys,
think it's
People
like
just
the
hold me
mayor.
down.
Isn't the mayor of Atlanta now like beefing with the governor? I thought that was what I
Yes.
saw. But, yeah.
So
I
the
would
mayor,
hope so.
our mayor is so upset about the fact that he said that, and she is very vocal about
Honestly,
how much she disagrees
There
with
are
the
going
governor.
to be so many pistol duels by the time this is over.
Yeah,
Just
like,
like,
this. This is like legit getting scary. Like,
But you
Yeah.
also know that our governor is the governor that in his commercials is where he had his daughter's boyfriend sitting there and he was pointing a gun at him, right? Have y'all
No.
never seen? Oh my God,
No.
I'll send
That
this to you.
surprised me.
Cece, you and I live in different worlds. There's gay marriage here and legal weed. It's wonderful.
Oh my god, the
I
legal
mean,
weed is the best.
I would love that. I need that here.
Okay. We don't know what we're doing next. We got a couple of picks. We might do this Will Forte thing. What's the name of that movie?
Extraordinary.
So my understanding is that it's out now, and the proceeds are going to some fund to help like small movie theaters. Which don't quote me on that. Google it. But that was what I heard, and that's kind of a cool thing. So we got that in the hopper. We got potential staff picks. As always, if you follow us on Twitter at BG Horror, we always let people know as soon as we're like solid on the pick. So, and also Slack. Is that it, Joe? You looked pregnant with thought there.
No. I've been eating a lot. Like I haven't.
Yeah, me too. Today was a bad food day.
I don't like my carb intake. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like Sunday I ate a loaf of bread for lunch.
The thing with me is that being at work like makes me feel like enough of a human being where like I kind of like I'm pretty controlled. But now that I'm at home, it's like ice cream at 2:00. Why not?
Yeah. Oh, so I'm in our spare room, which is also the kids' playroom, and we actually had because there was not many trick or treaters. I had a full bag of like party-sized Halloween candy that had been staring me in the face for the last 3 weeks, and yesterday I cracked it open and went at it hard.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting us. We appreciate it as always. Hang in there. We'll talk to you next week.
See you.
Bye.
I love you all so much.
Bye-bye.